right, should I get a count in? All right. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, introductions. I'm Danny B.
I am Jethro TV.
I'm Torjay.
I'm Datso.
And that's Monkley.
That's Monkley without a mic. He might have one later.
All right, so this is Glitchless Any%. It's going to be the same as Glitchless MST, Glitchless All Dungeons. All those are exactly the same because there's no glitches that we can do to skip any of the dungeons or any of the main parts of the game. So this category is one of the oldest ones. It's gone through a lot of changes recently. Should take around 3 hours and 40 minutes. Under that, if it's a good run. And in the beginning, there's going to be a few cutscenes. It's kind of like Majora's Mask in that sense. If we can get through the first half hour, it's going to get really fast-paced.
The beginning is a bit like a feature film, but it's a pretty good one until you've seen it like 1,000 times.
Gives us an opportunity to announce that the Glitch exhibition has been met.
Nice.
That's absolutely perfect. So we're going to see Glitchless and what Glitchless can do, and then everybody will get to see just how broken this game is when you introduce the glitches.
Just quite broken.
Very broken. All right, well, so first thing first about going fast, I suppose. Danny B is spamming pretty hard right here to save the frames on the introduction. There are little blue boxes that pop up on the text boxes. If you spam fast enough, you won't see those, and you saved, what is it, 1 frame?
1 frame per, yeah.
Yeah, so this game runs at 20 frames per second. And the way text boxes work is that one character shows up every frame, and it scrolls across the screen. And so we play in Japanese because in Japanese there are a lot fewer characters in every text box, and fewer text boxes overall. And so over the course of a long run like this, where we have a lot of text, Japanese actually saves as much as 20 minutes. No one's timed it totally to the second, but it's around there.
And there is a Chinese version of this game, but it's console specific to something called the IQ. And it should be faster since Chinese is even more condensed than Japanese, but the controller is terrible and no one wants to play on it for 4 hours.
Yeah, we should note that we're on Wii Virtual Console as well right now.
Yeah.
We're not on a Nintendo 64. But Danny B is playing with a Nintendo 64 controller, just in case anybody's curious.
Because childhood.
Yes.
Yeah. I played this game a lot when I was a kid, and I had a lot of leftover muscle memory on an N64 controller. Most people play on GameCube controllers, since you can plug them right into the Wii, and they're generally considered to be an all-around better controller for speedrunning this game. But I decided to be the weird one.
Some people might be angry at that statement.
Alright, so Saria's fairy is a random color, and it's red, I think?
I'd
Bad
call
luck.
it red.
I like red, yeah.
Red fairy,
splits.
red splits. Yep.
Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is go get the Kokiri sword, and along the way we're going to collect some rupees to buy a Deku shield, because we need to go to the Deku tree to get out of the forest, but Mido is in the way.
And now, something you might notice if you haven't watched OT speedruns at all is that we're not walking or rolling forward. We're doing a lot of back walking and a lot of side hopping. And that's basically because it's faster, to put it simply. The fastest normal sort of way of movement is back walking, so you'll see that as long as the distance we're back walking is great enough that it's worth it. Generally, we say that anything over 4 rolls or so, 4 or 5, is going to be worth back walking. Also worth noting that with Child Link, if you could side hop frame perfectly, that would be faster, but it's pretty impractical to use that in too many places.
Especially on slopes, but you see it a lot in TASes. So, cross base is fun. Alright, so first trick of the run, coming up. We call it bridge clip, but it's not a clip. The bottom of this bridge doesn't exist. Nice. That's frame perfect. And basically what happens is he just jumps, and then at the right frame, he jump slashes, which gives him a little bit more height, and the bridge just goes, now you're on the bridge.
All right, sword and shield acquired.
So as I'm sure chat's going crazy because I just did what is called a clip but isn't really. The rules for this category are definitely a little funky. This game has a huge spectrum of things that we can do, and it's impossible to actually define what is a glitch and what isn't. So basically what we've done is a group of runners who run this category have gotten together and made a set of rules. We've drawn a line in the sand and said everything on this side is a glitch, everything on that side isn't. And if you guys are curious to know exactly what is and what isn't, you can go to the
Nice.
FAQ.
It's a little boost there.
Yeah. I've got an FAQ on my channel, and I've got a link to a pastebin where you can see the rules and find out exactly what is and what isn't banned in this category, since listing it all would be impossible, because I can't.
Yeah, generally the guideline is if you don't introduce new tech into the game, then it's allowed. So if we can skip something without actually doing a glitch, then we can skip it.
And as we go through the run, we'll see some examples of where the limits of that are pushed,
For
and
sure.
we'll point them out. Deku Tree. Here we go.
All right. We have now acquired the most powerful item in the game. I'm not kidding.
He's gonna skip a Navi text box right there by pulling a weapon, and as he grabs the vines, it keeps Link busy.
More on that later.
Yeah, more on that later.
Skips the Navi text again there.
Yep. These Skulltulas are RNG to the max.
Wow. So now I'm gonna get the text box because I'm too close to the vines. Jumping on the chest there was the reason, or that was the reason I jumped on the chest. It's faster.
Oh,
also, I
come
can't
on.
hear that guy for my life. So I'm gonna stop talking. Okay. Wow.
This is basically how Deku Tree goes. It's actually one of the most maddening temples in the game, at least in my opinion.
Okay,
There we go. You can manipulate them by moving correctly, but it's pretty difficult.
That is not a correct angle. Nailed it.
Oh,
All right, so that was supposed to be B1 skip, and if you get a jump slash on the right couple of frames there, you will actually land up on top of this thing, which I'm gonna get up to now, so you don't have to do most of the dungeon. But C up is annoying, so it might take a second to get the right aim, which I did not.
Thankfully, this backup strat is here, and so you don't need to do like the entirety of B1.
There we go.
there we go.
Now you might see in some other speedruns of this game that you can clip through that web right there and not bother burning it. That would be considered a glitch, so we are going to burn it.
Two, three, one.
All right, so a little bit of a messy start. That's okay. Deku Tree is one of those places where I reset 90% of my runs.
Deku Tree is honestly terrible. It's a terrible place.
Now, if you played this game casually, you may be thinking, how are we going to beat Goma without the slingshot? Because we didn't get the slingshot. Most powerful weapon in the game. Deku Nuts. And right there, he jump slashed with a stick, which stores damage. Because crouch stabs in this game are a little bit broken in that they do the damage value of whatever attack preceded it, so long as you didn't go through a loading zone. And so a Deku stick jump slash
Hard boss.
does a ton of damage.
So what I did there, Goma is supposed to, after you do a certain amount of damage, she's supposed to get up, climb on the ceiling, and drop those eggs that everyone hates. But if you, after you do a certain amount of damage, and before she climbs on the ceiling, if you time a Deku Nut properly, you can keep her down, stun lock her, and get in the proper amount of damage to kill her.
And to go back to what Dotso was saying a moment ago about storing damage, it's worth just noting that like the Deku Stick does Master Sword damage, which is awesome, except they usually break when you hit something with them. So the fact that we can store that Master Sword damage and then use it through crouch stabs is really, really powerful because we have a lot more damage available to us as Child Link.